arrested before the media, you don't get any support and you don't get any justice. Justice in the United States is supposed to be equally distributed before all, but we find, especially in communities of color, that is not the case. Families who lose a loved one at the hands of police are made to march and beg in the streets in order to call attention to their tragedy, in order to provoke the authorities to do the right thing. The right thing these days is seldom seen in the United States. People are being apprehended, black and Hispanic people are being apprehended simply by being accused of a crime. Where law enforcement across the United States, when we see evidence of the commission of the crime, nobody wants to prosecute and charge them and hold them accountable. I don't need to tell you that this should not be. I don't need to tell you that there's widespread evidence that indicates that war has been declared on peoples of color across the United States. There's a war that has been declared against people of color in the United States that has gone on for so long and become so prevalent that it's now affecting all people across the United States. Law enforcement across the United States is brutalizing and arresting and murdering white people, black people, yellow people, people irregardless of finance, people irregardless of social standing or education. There is a non-discrimination effort to terrorize people here in the United States by law enforcement.
That's right.
None of us are safe.
That's right.
The politicians, we have met with some today, and we have made our petitions known. We have had congressional hearings today. We have met with the Department of Justice today. And the people are out in the street marching and demanding a justice that is due underneath the law. I'm here to tell you that if the law fails to bring about justice, we ought not be made to suffer with a murder that's been committed wrongly. The inability of a law should not make people have to suffer and tolerate carte blanche murders across the board. Justice is denied. If the law fails to afford you justice, there are sovereign rights, God-given rights that entitles you to equality, not based upon the law, but based upon the rights that the Creator has bestowed each and every one of us. It is those rights that the Constitution of the United States has been based upon, not the other way around. A man-made law cannot deny you God's sovereign rights that are owed to you due to the fact that you're a human being. If the man-made laws fail to do the job, then we have to do something else. But in no form or fashion can we be allowed our children's murders, wrongful incarcerations due to the inability of the law. Prosecutors who do not prosecute need to be prosecuted themselves. I am sick and tired of seeing people of color, blacks and Hispanics, wrongly prosecuted by prosecutors across the board, but when it comes to police, they go deaf, dumb, and blind and can't find no cause to charge them for the crime committed. The jail cells in the United States of America are 2.3 million people. That's more people incarcerated than every other country across the United States, in fact, over the world combined. You can't claim to be a land of liberty and justice when mothers such as these have to hit the streets and march and beg and plead for it. You can't claim to be a land of liberty and justice when you have people falsely accused in prison and evidence exists to show their innocence and you don't want to look at it. There is no form of justice. We here today are making a proclamation, put up or shut up, concerning those claims of liberty and justice for all. The people are tired, the people have had enough, and if you don't believe what we say, watch what we do.
I hear some police unions say, you know, we want our officers to come home when they finish their tour. That's military talk. You don't finish your tour, you finish your duty, your time at work, and then you go home. I am sick and tired of sending their kids to college, and they're sending our kids to the morgue. Remember Clinton Allen, and thank you for coming.
rights had been violated, to come back and tell me that his DNA was on the gun. Hell yeah, his DNA was on the gun. You had the gun to his head. The gun was to his head. We are mothers here today, unified to say enough is enough. We want justice. Thank you.
Play big shot. We here to win. Give the brothers and sisters the... Have this nation deal with the fact that just like 50 years ago, the states had taken a position to rob the human rights and civil rights of citizens with states' rights projected laws that disempowered federal law. We've seen in Ferguson, Missouri, we've seen in Staten Island, where state grand juries have...
Being from, though, basically what individuals said is that the system is so damaged that if black lawyers don't get involved, it's not going to get fixed. What we did initially is send what is called open records request to these 25 locations because there is no national database. So you kind of don't know how many cases are out there, you just know what's reported. Police departments do report numbers to the federal government, but they're 2 to 3 years behind in time, okay? The Justice Department, I asked individuals, how do we fix actually the system? They said, well, the Justice Department, the best way to do it is for the Justice Department to come in and open up these practice and procedure investigations. I said, well, why don't they just do it? And they said they can't. The law prohibits them from going out and looking for this evidence. It has to be presented to them. So the purpose of the open records request was for us to gather that information, analyze it, and take it to Eric Holder and say, here's a list of states you should get, here's some egregious cases you should look at. In the meantime, we started doing these Know Your Rights in these 25 states where we go and talk to individuals, what your rights are, how you interact with the cops. Then we came up with solutions, because at the end of the day, when the marching's over, the talking is over, and this is before all of this broke out, how do you change the system? You change it with the laws. And so number one is on a local level, we said something that the local politicians can do immediately is to enact ordinances that require stricter mental health testing. Number two, to enact training related to two things, diversity, and make it on a bi-monthly basis, if not a quarterly basis, but it needs to be more than just at the police academy. And number two, mandatory training on de-escalation of force. Because what we find is in white communities, officers are more inclined to de-escalate force. What do I mean by that? Gunman goes into a theater, shoots 14 people. They don't shoot him and take him down. They talk him down and they arrest him. Guy goes into the Congresswoman's rally area. He shoots 6 people plus a federal judge. They don't take him down. They talked him down. White guy goes into a Walmart store in South Carolina. He tries to steal a cash register. He terrorizes the whole entire store. He takes police on a chase. They tase him and arrest him. There's a difference because they automatically believe, because of the high crime rate in African American communities, that African Americans are actually a threat. So de-escalation of force, that's the local level. On a state level, enact these 2 laws. One, dealing with, and it could be in one law, that there be independent investigation of a police case, that it cannot be the police department. And I'm going to tell you, citizen review boards don't work. So a gentleman out of Atlanta had a brilliant idea, who is an investigator, and he is also in a criminal justice school. He said, how about the state has a list of investigators that are not connected or something of that nature. We're kind of working on that. But independent investigation, and number 2, independent special prosecutors that come from the state's attorneys. Indiana currently has a law that they just enacted on the independent investigation, not done by a black man. It was done by a father of a white guy that got killed by the cops. He took the money from his civil rights case and he lobbied to get the law passed. We're gonna take his law, look at it, and lobby it out to the other states to say you should pass it. We're in the process of drafting the independent prosecutors because we didn't realize this was a problem until the grand jury strategy in both Missouri and New York. Now, some people say revamp the grand jury system. That's not going to work because if the process is still secret or open, if a prosecutor who is connected to the police, who used them to investigate cases, it's too close. And even if it's not close, nobody's going to trust it anymore. And this fixes the grand jury system. On a federal level, there are 4 pieces of laws that need to be implemented. The standard based on the 1982 case by the Supreme Court says that a police officer can elevate force to the level that he believes is reasonable. If he believes his life or her life is in jeopardy, use as much force as you can to eliminate that danger. But in law, we call that arbitrary and capricious and subjective because you have to place yourself in the mind of the police officer at the time they were doing the shooting. So you have to second guess whether or not they really thought they were in danger. That's why many juries don't actually convict because people can only apply the facts to the law that is there. So here's what we say. Put some definition to what is excessive force. Define what it means to elevate force. In other words, cops have 4 weapons of choice. They got mace, they got a baton, they have taser, and they have a gun. So if you have to go to your gun, shoot to stop and not to kill. And now so that's what we're talking about on the elevation and definition of force. The second one is camcorders. We agree with the president and we've been lobbying and he used our language exactly. He just didn't say National Bar Association. We care nothing about the credit. We just want the laws. Camcorders, no more military equipment. But in the law, there must be a penalty for a cop tampering with the camcorder. Now, I know people have lost faith in camcorders based on the Eric Gardner case. Don't lose faith because there's a black guy in New Jersey by the name of Marcus Jeter. Look it up, Jetter. This young man is 30 years old. He's 32 now. At 30 years old, he was pulled over by the side of the road by the cops. There is a desk cam, a camera that is showing the cops saying, let go my gun, punching into his window. Let go my gun, stop resisting arrest, drag him out the car, stop grabbing my gun. He says to his attorney that looks like me, that can happen that way. I had my hands up in the air. And his attorney says he's lying because it really is very easy not to believe a black man because you believe that police can't be doing that and they're exaggerating. He did an open records request. An open records request is nothing but a sunshine request where you ask for all the stuff. Lo and behold, there was another camcorder. And that camcorder came from a police car that had pulled straight in front of his car and jammed it. As the cop is saying, let go my gun and punching him, his hands are up in the air. The public defense, it took 2 years to find the camcorder. The prosecutor said, this guy must do time. He must, looking at a maximum of between 5 and 15 years. Prosecutor dropped the charges. They indicted the 3 police officers. 1 was forced to retire without pay. 2 of them are being indicted. And let me tell you why this is not a black and white issue. It's a blue issue. The cop that was punching him, cop of color. Cop of color. Because the concept that we're dangerous is embraced by all, not a few. So make it a felony for them to tamper with the camcorder. We have that law written and ready to go and have passed it by ex-cops, okay? The final one is to actually make it a felony for a police officer to witness another police officer engage in excessive force or elevate force and not stop them. And this is based on the concept of felony murder. If you and I go into the 7-Eleven and even if I don't tell you I'm robbing it, and then you're like, da, 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 and I kill the person, they're gonna convict you. Even if I told you we were just gonna go rob it, they're gonna convict you for felony murder. Because if a murder is committed in the commission of a crime, it's considered to be felony murder, all peoples go to jail. We're saying make that for the cops who are required to protect us. Those are our laws. The one we're having some difficulty drafting is the elevation of force piece. But we're almost there with it, but we're ready to go with 90% of these laws. And so what I need is actually the help in getting the solution out, because until we change this, I don't care how many times you fire the prosecutor, if the system is still broken, it's not gonna work. A lot of people are pushing me and trying to force me to file a suit to set aside the grand jury in Missouri. I say that's a non-starter, and it's why it feels good, it doesn't fix the problem, because I'm gonna just send it back to a grand jury system that is secretive, that I know nothing about, with a prosecutor that has worked with the police. Here's the other thing that the NBA has done. We have decided that until this gets fixed, there are laws with the Department of Public Safety that actually license these officers, okay? We have filed a petition with the Department of Public Safety in Missouri asking them to revoke Darren Wilson's license permanently. Because what we said is drastic measures for drastic situations. You have to have drastic measures. If you won't fix the legal system that protects the community from road cops, then we will get off the street road cops in the best way we know how. This is our first case. We're actually researching whether or not other states have this. I think that the next law that we'll probably look at, and that's down the road before I leave office, will be that every state has some provision that looks like Missouri that will allow you to file and have their license revoked. That's the NBA solutions.
Yeah, I have a couple questions.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I mean, we were talking about this at the caucus, that
Yes.
The pre-planning session is what the caucus is,
Okay.
basically. My name is Chris Brown, and
Hi, Chris.
good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, thanks for coming, because we had, like, this was like this thing, and they brought it up, and it was like, yeah, that's a great question. We don't know the answers, and so it was really great to have you here.
Oh, thank you.
And so the first really easy question is just, so what website do we want to go to look this up if we want to spread this?
www.nationalbar.org. And I
Nationalbar.org.
wish that
Okay.
my laptop is frozen on me, because I would kind of show it to you, but I don't know what I did with it. Is there any techies in here?
I have a laptop.
No, but do
Oh,
you?
no, I don't know how to do that. I
Don't?
don't have an iPad.
Have you tried to turn it? It's frozen, the whole screen is.
It has.
If you can maybe try to turn it
Here,
off.
can you, listen, I'm like a 90-year-old white man when it comes to technology. I don't tweet. I don't do social media. I'm serious. And I just got this, and I just start using it to pay claims on it. I promise you when I'm on the air.
Anyway, the other question was the National Death in Custody Bill. How much are you aware of that?
I'm
And
not.
Does it do enough? I just
Can
found
you
out
send it
about
to
this
me?
an hour ago.
Can you send it to
Yeah,
me?
I can. I was just talking to somebody who does national lobbying out in that little circle there, and they brought this up. I had never heard of this until like literally like an hour ago.
Put it right up there. I'm gonna give you 2
Death in
email
custody
addresses.
bill.
If you're emailing me personally, email me at pmeans, M-E-A-N-E-S.
Yeah, so if everyone, we'll collect everyone's information, and we'll get all of this information from the session out to you.
At Thompson, T-H-O-M-P, okay, Thompson. And my husband's gonna kill me, he's out there waiting for me to go to the airport. But I am so excited that you guys are even interested. I have literally been doing this kind of like by myself with 4 people. Thompson Coburn at Thompson Coburn, it's like Co and Burn. .com. And then the president's address, because you'll need to keep this as you move forward.
We'll get this.
You'll get it this
Yeah.
one?
Yeah,
Let's go into,
Okay, all
yeah.
right.
We'll-
So that's how you get me. If you get, but I want to see the law. I want to see that law so I can send it to Terry. Don't call me Dr. Means, Pam is fine. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, sometimes you just gotta turn it off.
I don't even know how to turn it off. Shh, go down. Okay, so what? So here's what we think is the easiest. So what does success look like in 2 weeks? Okay? The National Bar Association has 12 regions. The regions coincide with the district regions. And then we have an affiliate chapter in every region. What I would like to do is to get a community organizer to be paired with a lawyer, paired with a law student, and a grassroots, a person on the ground in the movement in that area to push the state legislation. My understanding is everybody goes back into session in January. So you take the bill, and that's why we're going to take what's already there in Indiana. We're going to push that and say this is the legislation, and say fix it and tweet it to your area. And then I'd like to, what I've been asking my affiliate chapters to do is to take the local legislation and to educate the community about it, right? And then 2 lawyers attend those municipal meetings with them. It would be great if I could pair some organizers with my affiliate chapters to get it done.
I know somebody in St. Louis that would be really good at that.
Perfect. So we have 25 right now, you know, because I only have 7 months left, and I need to ingrain this in the NBA so you guys don't think it's a fluke. What I've done is we have 22 sections in the National Bar Association, and this is housed in the criminal law section, right? The criminal law section is chaired by a 23-year veteran prosecutor. His name is Terry Wiley, and I'll get you his address. The brother is bad. And he is the one that helped me set this agenda. Him and Darrell Washington, who is a 20-year veteran as it relates to defending police brutality cases. Got to have both sides of the argument, right? So what I'd like to do is be able to create a social media. What success looks like to me is to have those actual groups formed in 1 week. I know it's aggressive. And then to have inundate social media with the 2 pieces of legislation and this concept of the local legislation, okay? And then be able to start pushing it so somebody changes their bill in the upcoming session. Now, Missouri, I have a senator already has a bill, both on the House and the Senate side, but I need to fix the bill.
The system is guilty as hell. Indict, convict. To jail. The whole damn system is guilty as hell.
They know.
Indict.
They know.
Convict.
Send those killer cops to jail. The whole damn